The 1000th day of Russia's war in Ukraine was eventful to say the least. Moscow says Ukraine fired longer-range US missiles at Russian territory for the first time and has vowed that it will respond. This as President Vladimir Putin issued a nuclear threat on the same day. Earlier this week, Washington had cleared Kyiv to use ATACMS against military targets inside Russia. Now, this was a long-standing Ukrainian request that Moscow had repeatedly warned against. As per Russian officials, Ukraine used the missiles in Bryansk region close to the border overnight. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the attack showed Western countries wanted to escalate the conflict. Lavrov said Russia will be taking this as a new phase of the Western war against Russia and react accordingly.
The fact that ATACMS was used repeatedly in the Bryansk region tonight, of course it is a signal that they want to escalate the conflict, and it is impossible to use these high-tech missiles without the Americans. Putin has said this many times.
On the same day, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree lowering the threshold for using nuclear weapons. The new doctrine broadens the scope of when Moscow can use nuclear weapons and is seen as a clear message to the West and Ukraine. It says Russia would consider using nuclear weapons against a non-nuclear state if they are supported by nuclear powers. This would include Ukraine. The White House, the UK and the European Union have condemned the move as irresponsible. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiga has termed this as Russia's nuclear saber-rattling. Speaking at the US Capitol at a congressional hearing, the foreign minister urged Ukraine's Western allies to remain clear-eyed and not give in to fear. A video message from Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was also played at the hearing, where he thanked the United States and urged continued support until they achieve true and lasting peace.
I thank the entire US Congress for standing with us. These 1,000 days of war have been a path we've walked together. Now we must keep going until we reach the day we all dream of, a day of true and lasting peace.
Despite no clear end to the war inside, UN members continue to reaffirm their support for Kyiv and ask Moscow to withdraw its troops. Around 50 member states, including the United States and United Kingdom, Japan, Argentina and the European Union, condemned what they called Russia's unabated, indiscriminate attacks. The signatories added that such strikes increase on a daily basis the toll of casualties, displacement and destruction. Escalation of the war and efforts for a truce have both continued for 1,000 days straight as they remain besieged by frequent drone and missile strikes. Kyiv residents marked 1,000 days of war. They lit 1,000 candles, prayed at the Motherland Monument. In the last 1,000 days, thousands of Ukrainian citizens have died. Over 6 million live as refugees abroad, and Ukraine's population has fallen by a quarter. For more on this, our correspondent Thousandth has sent us this report from New York. Listen to this.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell criticized the Biden administration for delaying its decision to allow Ukraine to use those long-range missiles against Russia, calling it hesitation, indecision, and cowardice. McConnell believes the administration's cautious approach has hindered Ukraine's ability to effectively combat Russian aggression. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's team has also expressed criticism, but for different reasons. Trump's incoming National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, for example, questioned the decision, indicating potential changes in U.S. policy towards Ukraine under a Trump presidency. Now, analysts also consider the impact of Biden's decision to limit Russia as being non-existent, considering the fact that Russia has moved many of its assets beyond the reach of Western weapons. Susan Tarhmani reporting from New York for WION World is One.